Family, let me tell you something right from the start. You didn't hear this message by accident. You didn't stumble into this moment like someone scrolling with no intention. You didn't arrive here because of an algorithm, a notification, or a suggestion. You arrived here because God scheduled this moment long before you even woke up today. This is a divine appointment, an invitation from heaven to your heart. Because when God wants to get your attention, He doesn't need a loudspeaker. He doesn't need a burning bush in your backyard. He doesn't need thunder, lightning, or an angel knocking on your door. No, God speaks in ways that reach you exactly where you are, in the language of your personal experience. Sometimes it's a whisper you feel deep in your spirit. Sometimes it's a message you didn't expect. But somehow it feels like it was written with your name on it. Sometimes it's the way your heart tightens when you hear something true. And sometimes, just like right now, it's the simple fact that you paused, even for a second, and something in you said, I need to listen to this. That's not coincidence. That's calling. Because God knows how to stop you in your tracks when He wants to shift your direction. He knows how to pull you out of the noise, the stress, the distractions, and the battles of life, so He can say something that lifts you, strengthens you, and repositions you. And today, in this holy moment, He has one message ringing from heaven straight into your spirit. Congratulations, because your new season has begun. Somebody's spirit just reacted to that. Somebody's heart just opened. Somebody felt something stir inside them that they haven't felt in a long time. You know why? Because deep down, you've been waiting to hear from God. You've been asking for direction. You've been searching for confirmation. You've been praying for a sign that the struggle wasn't for nothing, that the waiting wasn't wasted, that the tears you cried in the dark weren't ignored by heaven. And God brought you here to tell you, this is that sign. This is that confirmation. This is that moment. You've been wondering if God sees you. And He says, yes, I see every step you've taken. You've been wondering if God hears you. And He says, I heard every prayer you whispered, even the ones you didn't have the strength to say out loud. You've been wondering if God still has a plan for you. And He says, your plan is unfolding even when you can't see it. This day, this message, this moment, it's heaven tapping you on the shoulder, saying, I'm not done with you. I'm not finished blessing you. I'm not through writing your story. God didn't bring you to this point just to remind you of where you've been. He brought you here to show you where you're going. And some of you don't realize it yet, but you just stepped into a turning point of your life, a spiritual timestamp, a divine signal, a heavenly announcement that the season you've been enduring is shifting into the season you've been praying for. So listen closely, not with your ears, but with your spirit. Because when God orchestrates a moment like this, He's not trying to inform you. He's trying to transform you. And today, He is declaring over your life. You made it through what was designed to break you. So congratulations. Your breakthrough is already in motion. You're not here by accident. You're here because God wanted you to know the chapter ahead of you is greater than the chapter behind you. And family, that's worth celebrating. Have you ever noticed how God speaks in ways we often overlook? Not with a billboard in the sky, not with fireworks exploding over your house, not with a loud voice booming through the clouds, but with quiet, intentional, divine signals that most people walk right past. God doesn't need to shout to get your attention. He speaks in whispers that only a listening heart can hear. Think about it. How many times in your life did something happen that felt small at the moment, but when you look back, you realized it was God directing your steps? A conversation you weren't supposed to hear, a door that closed so hard it pushed you in a completely new direction, a person you met at the exact time you needed encouragement, a message that showed up just as you said, God, I need a sign. A scripture that suddenly hit you differently, like it was speaking your exact situation. These aren't coincidences. These are God's signals, heaven's gentle nudges, divine fingerprints on the details of your life. God speaks in patterns. He speaks through timing. He speaks through alignment. He speaks through what stays, but He also speaks through what leaves. Sometimes He'll let something fall apart because it was too small for the version of you He's building. Sometimes He'll let a relationship end because it was blocking the blessing coming next. Sometimes He'll let your plan collapse because His plan was already prepared. And just like that, He uses life itself to speak, quietly, repeatedly, intentionally. So if you're seeing this message today, at this exact moment, in this exact season, you better believe it's not random. It's one of those divine signals, one of those heavenly moments that interrupts your ordinary life with supernatural intention. God is saying, pay attention. I'm talking to you. He's reminding you that your path is not accidental. Your steps are not aimless. Your journey is not forgotten. Heaven has been tracking every move, every tear, every sacrifice, every obstacle, every courageous decision you've made. Sometimes God introduces a message into your life at the exact moment your soul is ready to hear it. Not earlier, not later, right on time. There are things you went through months ago that didn't make sense then, but they make sense now. There are prayers you prayed long ago that felt unanswered, but now they're resurfacing in your spirit. There are dreams you buried because you thought they expired, but now God is breathing life into them again. And if you're hearing this right now, here's the truth. Heaven is signaling you that the shift you felt inside your spirit is real. The restlessness you've been experiencing, that's God moving you out of old spaces that no longer fit your destiny. The desire for change you can't shake. That's God preparing you for a new chapter. The sense that something is about to happen. That's not fear. That's not anxiety. That's your spirit detecting a move of God before it manifests. And this message is part of that signal. God is using it to confirm what your soul already knows, but your mind hasn't fully accepted yet. You are closer than you think. Things are shifting even if you don't see them yet. Your spirit is responding because your season is changing. Every time God is about to elevate you, He sends signs, signals, and confirmations. And right now, God is pulling you into alignment, not with what you lost, but with what's coming. You are not hearing this by chance. You are hearing this because heaven wanted you to know your time is approaching, your breakthrough is near, and God is signaling you to get ready for what He's about to release in your life. Some of you have been walking through a season that felt like a long hallway with no doors, a place where everything seemed delayed, everything felt stuck, everything looked like it was standing still. You prayed and nothing moved. You tried and nothing changed. You hoped, but the breakthrough didn't come when you thought it would. And after a while, that kind of season starts to make you question things. It makes you question your strength, your direction, your purpose, even your value. It makes you wonder, is something wrong with me? Why isn't this working? Why does everyone else seem to move forward while I'm still here? Did I miss my moment? Did God forget about me? But let me tell you something you may not have realized yet. That season wasn't punishment. It wasn't rejection. It wasn't abandonment. It wasn't God ignoring you. It was God protecting, preparing, and positioning you. Breakthrough isn't always blocked by the devil. Sometimes it's delayed by God because what's coming requires a stronger version of you. You weren't in a holding cell. You were in training. You were being stretched. You were being refined. You were being made ready for what you prayed for. Because here's the truth many people miss. If God had answered some of your prayers earlier, they would have crushed you. If He opened some doors before you matured, you would have walked through them unprepared. If He gave you the blessing before He built the character, the blessing would have broken you. The delay wasn't to harm you. The delay was to equip you. You were learning things you didn't know you needed. You were growing roots deeper than you realized. You were developing a strength you didn't even know was forming inside you. While you thought nothing was happening, God was building patience. While you thought you were stuck, God was building resilience. While you thought you were being ignored, God was shaping your faith. While you thought life was on pause, heaven was working overtime. There are lessons you only learn in isolation. There are breakthroughs that only come through pressure. There are strengths that only develop through struggle. There are callings that only awaken in seasons of delay. You weren't being held back to be punished. You were being held back so your blessing would have somewhere solid to stand when it arrived. And let's be honest, you're not the same person you were when this season started. You're wiser now. You're more grounded now. You have a perspective you didn't have before. You see life differently. You value things differently. You trust God on a deeper level. The very things that felt like they were breaking, you were actually building you. That heartbreak, it taught you strength. That disappointment, it taught you discernment. That betrayal, it taught you boundaries. That loss, it taught you appreciation. That loneliness, it taught you intimacy with God. That silence, it taught you how to hear Him clearly. You were being shaped for a future you couldn't yet see. And now, because you endured what others would have run from, you're ready for what others would collapse under. The enemy tried to break you, but all he did was push you deeper into God. He thought the pressure would crush you, but it only activated your calling. He thought the pain would destroy you, but it awakened a strength inside you that even YOU didn't know you had. You survived the season that was designed to stop you. And now God is turning that survival into strength. That strength into purpose. And that purpose into elevation. You weren't denied. You were being developed. You weren't forgotten. You were being fortified. And now you're coming out of this season stronger, wiser, clearer, and more aligned with God's plan than ever before. Do you know when heaven starts clapping for you? Do you know the moment God leans forward, smiles, and says, "That's my child right there"? It's not when you receive the blessing. It's not when the miracle shows up. It's not when everything works out in your favor. God starts celebrating the moment you obey, the moment you choose faith over fear, the moment you say yes to His voice even when you don't have all the answers, the moment you trust His plan even when His plan makes no sense at all, because obedience is heaven's language. It's the key that unlocks doors you didn't even know existed. It's the posture that attracts breakthrough. It's the sound that shifts atmospheres in the spiritual realm. You see, anybody can praise God after the blessing arrives. Anybody can shout when the victory is visible. Anybody can smile when life is going well. But it takes a different kind of faith. A deeper faith, a mature faith. A faith that has been tested to obey God in silence, in darkness, in confusion, in waiting. Some of you have been walking by faith when you had no map. You've been moving forward even though you had no clarity. You've been trusting God when nothing around you reflected the promise He made. You obeyed when it was uncomfortable. You obeyed when it was costly. You obeyed when you didn't feel strong enough, ready enough, or confident enough. And heaven took notice of every step. You prayed when your heart was tired. You worshiped when you felt empty. You stayed kind when people were unkind to you. You forgave people who never apologized. You held on to God when everything around you told you to let go. That's obedience. And God says, I can bless that. Because obedience is not about perfection. It's about surrender. It's about saying, God, I don't know the whole plan, but I trust the one who does. It's about giving him your steps, even when you don't understand the path. It's about placing your future in his hands, even when you can't see what's coming next. And some of you don't realize it yet, but your silent obedience has been shaking things in the spirit realm. Your faithfulness has been opening doors you haven't reached yet. Your consistency has been planting seeds that are about to break through the soil. Your sacrifice has been building a harvest heaven is preparing to release. When you obey, you give God something to bless. When you surrender, you give him something to breathe on. When you step out in faith, you give him room to perform miracles you thought were impossible. And today, God is looking at you and saying, congratulations. Because even when you didn't see results, you say congratulations. Because you trusted me when it felt like nothing was working. Congratulations. Because you kept walking even when you were limping. Congratulations. Because you obeyed me when your emotions told you to quit. Because celebrates obedience not because God needs something from you. Because her knees were knees. But because he knows obedience positions you for everything he wants to give you. Your prayers didn't go unnoticed. Your tears didn't fall uselessly. Your sacrifices weren't wasted. Your obedience wasn't ignored. In fact, that obedience has placed a divine stamp of approval on your spirit. It has set things in motion behind the scenes that you don't even know about yet. It has triggered blessings, alignments, connections, opportunities, and breakthroughs that are already on the way to you. And God is saying, get ready, because I'm about to reward the obedience you thought no one saw. When God opens a door in your life, there comes a moment when you can't just admire it, analyze it, or stand in front of it wondering if you're worthy. You've got to walk through it with courage, because a door from God isn't just an opportunity. It's an invitation into a version of yourself you haven't met yet. And some of you have been praying for change, praying for breakthrough, praying for clarity, praying for movement. But when God brings the opportunity close, the enemy tries to whisper doubts into your mind. He tells you you're not ready. He tells you you're not qualified. He tells you your past disqualifies your future. He tells you the blessing is too big for someone like you. He tells you the timing is wrong, the season is wrong, the situation is wrong. But let me tell you something powerful. When God says the door is open, it's open. No fear can shut it. No insecurity can close it. No person can block it. No mistake can cancel it. The only thing that can stop you is hesitation. This is not the season to shrink. This is not the season to apologize for your calling. This is not the season to play small so others feel comfortable. This is not the season to talk yourself out of the blessing God already approved. This is the season to rise. For too long, you've dimmed your light because you didn't want to upset anybody. For too long, you've waited for permission from people who don't even understand your purpose. For too long, you've lived in survival mode when God was trying to shift you into overflow. For too long, you settled for good enough when God was preparing greater. Now, something inside you is waking up. You can feel it. You can sense it. You know you weren't meant to stay where you've been. You know something is shifting, even if you can't fully explain it. Your spirit is stirring because your season is changing. And when God says, congratulations, He's not just acknowledging what you made it through. He's announcing what you're walking into. You're stepping into a season of opportunities that fit you. A season where what once felt heavy will now feel possible. A season where your prayers will start turning into plans. A season where the things you lost will be replaced with things that carry more purpose, more peace, more stability, and more glory. Your next chapter is carrying blessings you didn't even think to pray for. Divine connections you never imagined. Healing that goes deeper than the wound. Resources that meet needs you haven't spoken out loud. Strength you didn't know was inside you. Favor that follows you even into rooms where you feel unqualified. But listen, to step into what God has for you, you've got to release what was holding you back. You can't walk into open doors carrying the weight of old doubts. You can't enter a new season dragging the fear of past seasons. You can't embrace new opportunities still tied to old disappointments. This is your moment to trust God boldly, to step with confidence, even if your voice shakes, to move forward even if you're still healing, to believe again even if you've been hurt before, to try again even if last time didn't work, to walk like someone who knows heaven is backing every step, because the same God who carried you through the storm is the God who is now guiding you into the promise. And if He brought you this far, He didn't bring you here to leave you standing at the doorway, confused or uncertain. He brought you here so you could enter. Your season is shifting. Your story is unfolding. Your steps are being ordered. Your strength is rising. Your purpose is activating. Your blessing is approaching. And God is saying, move forward. Keep going. Walk boldly. The door is open.